lecture 12 of your course Semantics and Pragmatics. In the previous lecture we talked about speech acts theory. We talked about 3 speech acts. Now we're going to focus on one of the speech acts, which is elocution. More specifically, we're going to talk about 2 types of elocution, which is direct and indirect. So an utterance can have one elocution or more than one elocution. Look at the first example, pass the salt. Here we only have one elocution in this utterance, which is requesting. Pass the salt, you are requesting someone to pass the salt. Look at the second example, can you pass the salt? In this example we have 2 elocutions, or 2 elocutionary acts. Here we are asking a question, can you pass the salt? And we are also requesting. So when you tell someone, can you pass the salt, you are asking him a question and you are also requesting him to pass the salt. So here we have 2 elocutionary acts. Look at the third example here, that will be 10 riyals, please. So someone at a shop and the seller is telling him, well, that will be 10 riyals, please. So here we have also 2 elocutionary acts. Here we have informing. The seller is informing the buyer that this is the price of what you just bought, and he is also requesting that he pays the money. Alright, so 2 elocutionary acts. So as we have seen from these examples, an utterance can have more than one elocution. In examples with 2 elocutions, one of them is called direct and the other is indirect. So in example 2 and 3 we have 2 elocutions, direct and indirect. So this leads us to introduce the distinction between direct and indirect elocution in the next section. So starting with direct elocution, what is it? How can we define it? The direct elocution of an act or of an utterance is the elocution most directly indicated by a literal reading. So when you are literally reading the sentence, looking at the grammatical form, looking at the vocabulary in the sentence that was uttered, this is a direct elocution. So when I say, can you pass the salt? By reading this literally, we're seeing a question here. So this is the direct elocution. The indirect elocution is basically any further elocution other than what is expressed literally. So looking past the grammar and past the vocabulary of the sentence, what is the speaker trying to say more than just the meaning, the literal meaning of the sentence? So in example 2, in the previous example, the direct elocution of can you pass the salt is an inquiry or a question about the hearer's ability to pass the salt. The indirect elocution is a request that the hearer passes the salt. Also similarly in example 3, the direct elocution of that will be 10 riyals, informing the hearer of the price, and the indirect elocution is a request that he pays the price. So if you look at that will be 10 riyals, if you just look at the words themselves, the meaning of the sentence is just basically telling us the price. But if you look beyond, if you look more than just the literal meaning, you will see that there is also a request that the person pays the money. So there is also a good way to distinguish between the two, is that if we have a sentence with direct and indirect elocution, we can give an unhelpful reply to the indirect elocution of the utterance. What do you mean by unhelpful? Look at this example. For example, in an utterance like, I must ask you to leave, the hearer can ignore the fact that the speaker is telling him to leave. He's ordering him to leave. And says to him, well, must I? So he just takes the information in the sentence and questions that information, ignoring the order. Alright? So this is an unhelpful reply. The hearer didn't cooperate with the speaker. So the previous example carried out 2 elocutionary acts, direct, which is asking, and indirect, which is ordering. The hearer chose to ignore the speaker's intention, which is ordering him to leave, and gave a deliberately unhelpful reply. He unhelpfully said, well, must I leave? He didn't leave, or he didn't say, well, I will leave, or no, I will not leave. He didn't choose to cooperate. We will talk more about this point in the next lecture when we talk about the cooperative principle and when we talk about the maxims of Grice. So all of this will be handled in the next lecture, inshallah. So here we have talk about classes of elocutionary acts. We have 2 classes depending on the type of interaction between the speaker and the hearer. There are also more than 2 classes, but we will only talk about 2 classes in this lecture, and this is what is required for you in the course. So there are directives and commissives, and from their name we can understand what they refer to. So let's start with directives. A directive act is any elocutionary act which involves the speaker trying to get the hearer to behave in some required way. So from their name, directive, you are directing the hearer to do something, okay? You are requiring him to behave in some way. For example, ordering someone to do something and suggesting are called directive acts. On the other hand, apologizing and promising are not directive acts. When you apologize to someone, you do not want him to behave in a certain way. When you promise something someone, you are not telling him to do something in a certain way. So these are not directives. Also we have other kinds of directives like requesting. If you request something from someone, you want him to do something in a certain way. Demanding, insisting, instructing, inviting, all of these are kinds of directives. The other kind of elocution is called commissive acts. So a commissive act is any elocution that involves the speaker committing himself to behave in some way. So now the speaker is telling the hearer, I will do this, I will commit myself to do something in a specific way. So this is why they called commissive, from commitment. You make a commitment, you commit yourself to do something that the hearer will expect you to do. So for example, promising and swearing. When you promise someone, you are now committing yourself to do what you promised. When you swear, I swear I will do this, you're also committing yourself to do something. So these are called commissive acts. On the other hand, ordering and thanking are not called commissive acts. Commissive acts include giving one's word. When you give your word to someone, you are committing yourself to do something. Guaranteeing, when you guarantee something, you are committing yourself to it. Offering, when you offer something to someone, you are committing yourself to giving him your offer or doing your offer. Vowing, and so on. So any act that will make the speaker do something, that the speaker now says, well, I will do this thing, I commit myself to doing this thing. As I said, there are other classes of elocution like expressives, representatives, but we will not deal with them in this course. If you want to learn more about them, you can go back to your reference books. We will just focus on these two for now. Okay, an important point to note is that you do not confuse direct with directive. Remember, we said there are direct elocution, indirect elocution, and on the other hand we have directive and commissive. So we use the term direct to talk about how an elocution is carried out, whether directly or indirectly. So the term directive is used for the kind of act carried out. So there is a difference here. So directive is the kind of act you're going to carry out. Are you telling someone to do something, directing them to do it, or are you committing yourself to doing something? Okay, so direct and directive are different. And there is also something important to note, that we can have direct directives and indirect directives. It's not really that difficult, it might be confusing at first, but look at the example. When you say pass the salt, this is direct elocution. There is nothing beyond the meaning of this utterance. Pass the salt, what does this mean? Give me the salt. Okay, so this is direct, and it is also directive. You are asking someone, you are directing someone to give you something, which is the salt. You can also have indirect directive. Can you pass the salt? Here we have two elocutions, one direct, one indirect. The direct one is a question, can you pass the salt? The indirect one is a request, please give me the salt. Okay, so this is the indirect elocution in the second utterance, and it is also a direct directive, because you are instructing, you are directing the hearer to give you something. There can also be direct and indirect commissives. We're going to look at examples of each so that the idea becomes clearer to you. I gave you two examples of each. Hopefully this will make it easier. So let us look at some examples of direct and indirect directives and direct and indirect commissives to make the difference between them clearer to you. So these two examples are of direct and direct directives. So when you say stop, there is nothing more to this sentence. Stop means stop, that's it. So there is only one elocution here. It is a direct elocution, and it is also directive. You tell someone to stop, well, that's it. You're giving him an order now. You are directing him to do something, to stop moving or to stop doing something. Go away, also direct, and it is also directive. Okay, direct, directive. Go away, you are ordering someone to go away, and you are directing him to do that. So this is direct and directive. We can also have indirect directive elocution, like I would like some water. Here you are requesting and you are informing, so two we have two elocutions. The direct one is the informing, I would like some water. You're telling me I would like some water, and you are also requesting that I bring you water. Okay, you notice there are two levels here. So the direct one is you are informing me that you want water. The indirect one is that you are requesting from me to give you water. So this is indirect directive elocution. I would appreciate it if you talked quietly. Also, we have two elocutions, direct and indirect. The indirect one is that you are ordering someone to speak quietly, or you are requesting from them to talk quietly. So you are directing them. So we call this indirect directive elocution. We also have direct commissive elocution. For example, I promise to be there promptly. Here there is no more to the meaning of this utterance. You are committing yourself to doing something. I promise. So the other example is the same as well. I swear I'll be there tomorrow. You are also committing yourself to do something. So it is directly saying something and committing yourself to doing this thing, which is being there tomorrow, or to be there promptly or quickly. Indirect commissive elocution, like the following here: can I help you? You are asking a question and you are also offering help to someone. So you are committing yourself to help someone. Okay, you are saying to the listener, I will help you. You are committing yourself to help someone. If you need me at any time, just call. So here you are offering your help to someone. You are committing yourself to helping someone. And of course, this is the indirect elocution. Directly, you're just telling him, okay, if you need anything, just call. But indirectly, you are telling him, well, I am offering you my help. So you are committing yourself to helping the listener or the hearer. Alright, so this is it about elocution, direct and indirect, and directive and commissive. Hopefully the distinction between all these terms are clear to you. Inshallah, in the next lecture we're going to talk about the cooperative principle, like I mentioned quickly in this lecture, and inshallah the maxims of grace. So I will see you then. Thank you all for listening, and I hope that you found this lecture interesting and useful, and we'll see you next time.